Hi, BooredFemme here, bringing to you the Sony Xperia Ion. So this Android phone is actually nice and flat, nice and sleek. So actually from the front we have a nice really scratch resistant glass, so nice and durable, nice flat buttons. So our main menu buttons are on the front. On the back we have like a metal casing, so nice aluminum, again durable. We have our really charging port here. This one I thought was a little bit funky, to use the term. I have nails and it still took me a little bit to open it at times, and sometimes it doesn't, it's a little bit tough to get it flush back into its socket, so I can see people accidentally breaking that off. We have on the other side the camera button, your volume and zoom buttons, and the power. So let's turn this puppy on. Here we go. So this is operating on the Gingerbread Android, which will have an update to the ice cream sandwich. So I'm sure you'll see updates on that. So you can either just swipe to unlock, of course. So I like how simple they made it. They actually made it pretty straightforward. They didn't, load a bunch of apps that seem kind of unnecessary. So, I mean, but still some of the important ones, and you can still customize as usual. So I actually use the streaming Netflix quite a bit. I did notice that the touchscreen buttons at the bottom, they're not as responsive when you just out of the box without changing any settings. They're not quite as responsive. A couple of times I'd have to press either the home button or the back button multiple times. But let's take a look. I mean, you have your usual customizing screens. I like that they defaulted to the weather at the top, so that's very helpful. What else do we have here? If we scroll over, one feature that I really liked, I mean, if you want to compare it to other like social media feeds, this is the Timecaster. So I actually use this shortcut to log into most of my social media. So you of course have the combined feed, but I think it's visually very friendly and nice and interesting graphics. It's just scroll through, so you see a little icon at the bottom of each of which. Is that a Twitter feed? Is it a Facebook status update? So if we go backwards and exit out of it, again you can see how it takes a little bit. You see some shortcuts for the social media across the bottom. So it's sort of like a its own default menu for social media. But if you scroll over, one of the windows is actually defaulted to sort of a Timecaster also, but it's more of a shortcut. So you have here you have a refresh button, so you can go ahead and obviously refresh your feeds. Duh. You can still scroll through each of the feeds. And then this is actually if you want to do your own status updates. So it looks like a little pulse, so you can actually update one or both or neither status update. So let's just exit out of that. So, I mean, your usual drop down, I mean, the rest is pretty standard for the Android. When we get into the 12 megapixel camera, so this is HD, so 1080p, and then on the back side, so the front facing. The other camera is actually 1.3 megapixels, obviously without flash. When we get into the flash, that is actually one thing I think had a little bit of an issue. I think the camera and the flash, I would give it like a 7 out of 10. At one point when I was indoor, but when in low light, every other picture came out with a little bit of a yellowish tinge. So I mean, it does have a very good quality camera, but maybe the flash needs some improvement. But overall, this is a nice, sleek device. I like how simple it was to really customize, and a great processor, and the nice 4.6-inch screen by Sony, the Xperia Ion, and thumbs up so far. Bye-bye.